have Professor Wendy Krause from North Carolina State University, and we have Professor John Hopkins from the Department of Chemistry from Louisiana State University.
I teach STEM classes, sort of either ranging from material science, chemistry sort of content to more engineering. And in my 400, 500, and PhD level classes, I usually assign a paper of some sort, and I got really tired of reading really bad papers. And so I talked to the Writing Center and decided that we needed to implement some scaffolding for the assignment, and then also do a lot more peer review as part of that. I wanted the students to really take the peer review portion of that seriously and wanted to grade the reviewing part of it. Eventually, I found Kritik's platform at a conference I was attending. It's allowed me to formally use peer review a lot more, and the papers are hundreds of times better.
So I use Kritik as a pedagogy. What I'm interested in is supplementing what they've already done using peer interaction in the classroom and then doing problem solving on their own to give them a different way of thinking about questions. Kritik, I would say, is like a 5th generation product where all of these things have been solved in a tremendously well thought out way. So for example, Kritik has a way of calibrating these students. So you can give an assignment in the early part of the year, have everybody grade it, and then you grade it, or your graduate students grade it. Then you get a feeling for which students know how to grade and which students don't. And you can weight them then differently when the system calculates the overall grade. That's awesome, because that really helps get the grades accurate. Secondly, the way Kritik has things set up where the student's feedback grade comes from how accurate it is compared to other students. Now, you have to be careful to make sure that you see things the way other students also see it. So that's really important in getting the grade to come out even-handed. Thirdly, the challenge is set up where if a student still feels something's wrong, they can set a flag, and then the instructor can go in and satisfy all those flags by looking to see what the complaint is and then handling all of those problems where perhaps the grading went wrong. So it's really set up in a way where I think the grading comes out very, very good.
One of the huge benefits of using peer assessment is the students are seeing one another's work, and they don't normally see one another's work. And that, I think, by just seeing it, it causes some self-reflection on the students. They start to be like, oh, I really didn't meet the expectations of this assignment, or wow, I did this a different way, or they're seeing a spectrum. And I think that self-reflection is hugely important in the learning process, and I think it really benefits the students. And I also think that peer pressure, they know other students are going to see what they did, so I think they care a little bit more about the other students seeing it than me and the TA. So so I think they try sometimes a little harder when they know that their peers are going to see it. If these are upper level students in the STEM fields and they are going to do peer review, maybe not formal peer review of journal articles, but they're going to do peer review for the rest of their career. Throughout our experiences, we are doing peer review and giving them some actual practice and feedback on their reviews of other people. I think is really important, especially for students that are seeking advanced degrees.
And one of the important things that we're trying to do is to prepare students for the future job that they will have in the workforce once they leave the university. And they will be required in all phases, almost all of them, to give constructive feedback in one way or another and to accept feedback. I explained to them that this is one of the places where they are learning how would you give feedback to an employee who was under your control. How would you do that in a constructive way? Because obviously you want to encourage them, you want to correct mistakes, you want to reward successes, and you want to encourage them to continue to be effective.
The great thing is you can set up the create to be pass-fail so that, they meet one criteria out of the rubric, or however you want to set it up. So I can set brainstorming activities up as pass-fail, but they're still getting personalized feedback from their peers on that activity. A few semesters I used Kritik. I made my TA go through and grade the peer reviews the way he always had in the past. And we would compare the scores with Kritik, and it worked pretty well. So now we're using the scores that are coming straight out of Kritik.